So I thought I'd show you a little quick lesson that you can do at home. We're going to take a look at notation, standard music notation, and how it applies to ukulele. So I'm just going to put this up on the screen here. You can see that hopefully. And so we're just going to look today actually at the first 3 notes here. First, let's just look at what this is. If you can see my cursor, you see I'm circling this G-shaped thing here, and it's called a clef. It's specifically the treble clef, and that's the only clef that we'll use for ukulele. There are other clefs for other instruments, but ukulele always uses a treble clef. And then down here we have our tab. So what we have here is there's the open C string down here in the tab. See the 0? That means open C string. And then above it we have this here is the way that you write that note in notation. So this says do this, and this also says do this. It's just 2 different ways of writing the exact same thing. Same thing over here. Here's the 2. That's a D note, right? C, D. You might not have known it was a D, but it's a D. And it says up here it's a D, and that's how you write that in notation. And similarly, we have the open E string, and that's how you write that note in notation. C, D, E. So we're just going to learn those 3 notes today. C, D, and E. The open C string, the second fret on the C string, and the open E string. Okay, so what I'd love for you guys to do is to memorize these 3 notes. Let's just take a look at them. The C, it's easy to tell the C because it's got that little line through it. It looks a little bit like a planet or something. And then the D is the one that's at the bottom of all these 5 lines. We call these, this is the staff, the musical staff. So the D is right there. It doesn't have a line going through the middle of it. It's underneath the bottom of the staff. And then the E, you see how that line goes right through the middle of it? It's on the bottom line of the staff. So just try to memorize those, C, D, and E. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can go down to here. You can skip over this part if you want where it says the open strings. This is just, it shows you how all the open strings are written in notation, but we don't actually need that for today. We're going to take a look at hot cross buns. And this just reminds you down here, this is an E, that's a D, and that's a C, even though it's got these 2, the notes are blacked out, and this one it's hollow. It's still a C. This is just a half note. That means you hold the note longer. So these 2 are quarter notes. This is a half note. So the same note, there's still E, still D, still C, but this is going to go E, D, C. So you see how I held it out longer? That's what a half note is. So we have E, D, C, E, D, C. And so the second time I've written it here, I didn't write the notes underneath it. And that's because this is for you to practice looking at that and going, what is that note again with the line through it? Oh yeah, it's an E. That's the open E string. Right there. There's the D, C. Okay, then we go over here, and this is where I'm going to let you try to figure this out on your own. What is that note? You tell me, what is it? This one here with the line through it. And then what's this note? And what are these notes here? So this is, if you'd like to take this on for homework, your homework is going to be figure out how to play hot cross buns and practice it. The one thing I will tell you is that these little notes here, the ones that have the tails, we call this the tails. This is the stem. The part that is the note head is the blacked in part, or in this case the hollow part. Then the part that goes up like that is called the stem, and then this part that goes across is a tail or a bar. In this case it's got a bar joining these together. So these are 1/8 notes, and so they are twice as fast as the quarter notes. So a quarter note sounds like this. I'll clap it. That's 4 quarter notes. Now if I did 2 half notes, it would sound like this. And then the 8th notes sound like this. That was 8 8th notes. So it's okay if you're not clear on some of this stuff, might be new terminology. Don't worry about it. I just want to give you a little activity that you could work on at home since we didn't have class 2 weeks in a row. So this is just a little reading practice. And next week, hopefully, we'll be back to normal in person. If you want to go on, if you feel like, hey, Hot Cross Buns was too easy and I need more of a challenge, feel free to move on to Mary Had Little Lamb. It also just uses those same notes, E, D, and C. So, oh, it's got one new one. It's got the G in there too. So feel free to work ahead and do Mary Had Little Lamb if you want, but the only part that I'm asking you to do, or if you have time, is take a look at Hot Cross Buns. See if you can figure it out for next week. And if you can't, don't worry about it. We'll look at it in class. Okay, bye. Hope nobody else gets sick.